What's going on, everybody? Core Conversations for Thursday. We got a freestyle going on, and I want to piggyback on a conversation that I've been having. You see it happening online here as well. So let's do that in a minute. Thank you for joining us, and let's get this going. Hey, Shannon. Yeah, every time I say your name, my phone thinks I'm saying Siri, and it like zeroes out, so it's kind of weird here. Anyway, Shannon, if you're around this weekend at all, we're doing some canvassing. I'd love your help at some point. Subscribe and share. Hi, Lisa. What's going on? Hi, Paula. Lisa, I was just talking with Jamie this morning online too, so it's funny that you're here. I want to talk about Pilates for men this morning a little bit. It's funny. I've got a bunch of new guys working with me just in the last little while, and even like a 10-year-old boy as well. So it's just interesting that Roots Reach Pilates has a post about men in Pilates this morning that I want to kind of piggyback off of as well. So if any of you would like to join me in the chat as we're doing this, that's what a Freestyle Thursday is about. So Lisa, if you're good to go, you want to give me a thumbs up, you want to join me, that'd be great. Hopefully Jamie will come in as well. And if not, I'll just talk here. You guys can just talk to me through the feed. So I wish I screenshotted all of them, but there was a conversation that Roots Reach Pilates had where she was talking about men doing Pilates and showing examples of men being strong, or men making it look easier, men just, NFL guys doing some work and all these different things. And I know all of us that are here in the chat and that are watching us online have men that pass through your studio. So I want to spend some time with this and talk about like what appeals to them, what the challenges are, how to get them into your studio. Is it a point of emphasis for you? Just kind of go with the flow and treat them like everyone else. Those sort of things. So let's unpack it a little bit. I'd love to hear from you. Do you like working with men? Is it a preference for you? Is it a favorite thing for you to do? Or do you just what is it about working with men that makes it great? I absolutely love it, and it's not necessarily, yes, it is men, but I think the element of just introducing them to a new way of moving is really the foundational thing for me. So for a lot of the guys that do workouts and they're in the gym or they're playing their sports, they don't realize that this is a missing link, that this could be something that could be a game changer for them. So I love opening their mindset to the fact that this is another way that they can move and find freedom. And for everyone who wants to do like a work day and a rest day, this could be your rest day. Like you can work out 7 days a week with this Pilates thing, right? So it's just the fact that it just opens people's perspective in such an amazing way is the cool thing for me when it comes to working with men in Pilates. What is it for you? Fit Vision, what's going on? The topic for today really is men and Pilates. And the reason why I put that title is because there's a saying, what can be done with ease must first be done with diligence. What can be done with ease must first be done with diligence. And that's really where this comes in, because there's... Do I have it here? I didn't post it. There's a post I put up last year that is cycling around a little bit here. So let me read Lisa's comment first. So, Jam Zone Hub, what's going on? Here's Lisa's comment. A balance with clients, but I feel men especially push too hard or not hard enough. Isn't it interesting? Yeah, so that is it too, right? There is a sense that like they never either, they find that, the delicate ego, and no disrespect whatsoever, that's fine. None taken, because it's true. There are times when that does happen. What's going on, Debbie? There is that time where that happens, right? And that's just people, right? I could say the same thing for some of my female clients and some of the patterns that I've observed with them. So that's why I'm trying to keep it high level and not get canceled for saying the wrong thing. I'm not really concerned about that. That's a whole separate conversation about knowing someone's heart and their intent. So, but that being said, working with men is that balance, like Lisa's saying there. The post that you have to look at, I think I reposted just before I wanted to air here, where I was saying that I was actually making a joke and saying that the push-up is the last exercise in the mat work on purpose, so that the guys who do Pilates feel like they actually accomplished something today. Because I don't know about you, guy or girl, but when I came to Pilates, I was crushing the strength exercises and I was looking for the exit on any stretching exercise. I could do push-ups and I could do even rolling like a ball and that'd be no problem, but saw owned me. Stomach massage on the reformer owned me. There are some exercises that required range of motion and mobility that I just didn't have. So when we landed at some exercises that just required brute strength, I felt good about myself. And then we do something that was easy for the person next to me, leg circles for example, and I'd be hating my life. So there's always this balance. So I was encouraged by the strong exercises, and I was discouraged by the exercise that required length of my hips or my hamstrings or my back. Doing rolling like a ball and hitting that flat spot like you're rolling on a, I don't know, cutting board or something. Like it just seemed like it was just like, so some parts were so hard for me that I waited for the easy stuff to come along to kind of get my self-esteem back up. How many of you guys like relate to that? Maybe that was my delicate ego, Lisa, maybe. I joke about that all the time. That's just one of those things where like, and for your self-esteem, we're gonna do this exercise next. What are your high self-esteem exercises? What are those exercises that are your favorites? Those ones that like if you're in a class setting, you're like, I'm gonna show them now, like I got this sort of thing, because you just feel good about it. Your teaser is just on point all the time. Doesn't matter how bad you're feeling, you can nail this exercise all day, every day, eyes closed, in your sleep. What is that exercise for you? I'm joking about that level of cockiness with it, but what are the exercises that make you feel good? What are the exercises that challenge you, right? Making a point to moving around men and Pilates and just like that feeling. So paint the picture for me. I asked first, what is the exercise that you love? That one that's not hard for you to do, just anatomically, it just works for your body. Everything about it just is in place. From cold, you can do it. what is that exercise for you? Trainer's choice. How's it going? So the reason why I asked that question is, there's always a lag, so I wait for a moment before I talk sometimes. I know people are typing. The reason why I ask is that that's what we go through. Like those highs and lows are what every person walking to the studio for the first time goes through. So do we set them up for success? Or do we just go with the next exercise in the system, like it or not? So Lisa's saying the ones she loves are the 100 and the plank. So if I go down, okay, just do your 100. You could just find those connections in your body. You could find that proper lift, find that proper reach, get that nice pump and good flow with your arms and the good breathing and point. Everything just like flows with it. You're right. Planks, solid. Yes, yeah, because you're strong. So of course, those are going to be strong ones for you. Rolling or rocker, open leg. Yes. So then, those are the ones that you don't love, I guess, the rocking ones? Which one's for me? I was working with some clients on boomerang, so just a lot of the elements are in that exercise in the boomerang. From your teaser, loves. Okay, cool. You notice ones I don't love, now that we're talking about it? Rowing series on the reformer. That shoulder, I have to be really warm to get any kind of mobility through my shoulders. Like coming out the gate, swan. Yes, swan 2. Swan, I blame it on like my shorts when they're sliding. That's why they swan on the barrel. Ladder barrel? No, thank you. I'll do it, but inversions, anything inversion is a love for you, I'm sure. Air control Pilates. No doubt. Hi, Michelle. VA Fit Vision saying, I had my first male clients join a few weeks ago. Went through a series of 5, which I love. Was surprised that he felt so much on this one. Stretch ATL, what's going on? Fit Vision. So what was it about the ab series that you love? And how did it shock him? What is it? Now, the reason why I asked that while you're answering that question, you can either give me a thumbs up and join me on screen, or you can just write it in the text. The ab series of 5, I feel like we're having a technical conversation today. The ab series of 5 is interesting because you can fly through it. I can get down and just do this and not feel any connection in my body and finish the whole thing. Or you could dive deep on the nuance of the movement and all of a sudden it's near impossible. How much do you give them on their first session? Like, there's so many layers to those exercises. How do you present it in a way where they can be like, that's good, that's talent, I feel that. Not, whoa, this is impossible, I'll never get there. Or, man, that was too easy for me. I don't know if you've ever done that. How many of you have like taught an exercise that you know is brutal, and then you kind of were off with your teaching that day, and they get through it and they actually finish it, and you're like, that should have been more of a struggle. That's on me. Anybody? Yes, I love the flow too. Ease them into it and give them modifications, he or she's saying. VA Fit Vision, I don't even know like what's your name. It just says that, so I'm not sure if it's who is behind that handle. I love the flow in those exercises. I love like the transitions. You can just really transition. People feel like they've got something. They have a new tool in their toolbox when they do that ab series of 5 with flow. They can get down, they can do it. I just warmed up. I did that yesterday. That's one of those exercise series where it's like, oh, I did some pilates this week and I did that ab series. Like, oh, okay, cool. Good for you, right? It is. Yes. Cool. Right, so the head and neck down for being absolutely, yeah. So those are, I had a client that is a psychologist, and he was saying one time when I was introducing, he's been a personal training client of mine for a long time, and as I was getting into the Pilates work, he became my student. He didn't have a choice, so I was throwing exercises at him through our personal training sessions, and finally said, okay, let's try this for a full session. We did the Pilates work, and the feedback that he gave me after that session was something that I've run with. And he basically said it was all right, it was okay, but I didn't give him enough successes. And I remembered that because that was the thing where he said, like, there's so many, it wasn't even that I was over cueing, but I was looking for things. I was giving him adjustments. I was letting him try an exercise and I move on to the next exercise. And at the end of it, he's like, you didn't give me enough successes. And, success may look like, okay, head down and not even let them know that there's a head up version of that exercise. Good, you got that for today. Let's move on to the next one, sort of thing. So I remember that, and I'm very mindful of that when I'm working with new people or with anybody. Give them their successes along the way. Working with men, give them their successes along the way. Give them those strong exercises. Give them those ego exercises. Give them that. Recognize that they have a really good flexion in their back. So throw some like rolling stuff at them so they can feel like they're getting somewhere with this work. Maybe not crush them with every extension exercise because they have lots of flexion, or vice versa. Find those moments and those places to give people successes along the way. That'll keep them going, and they'll move from that diligence to ease with more exercises. If someone comes in on day 1 and they could do 5 out of 10 exercises, that's going to be enough for them to come back and be like, all right, let's make it 6 out of 10. Let's make it 7 out of 10. And now we can add some more exercises to it. So, I don't know. There's so many different elements to that. Phil Griffin just walked into the room, Scoop Pilates and PT. We're talking about Pilates for men right now. And the ease and diligence line comes from the place of saying, from the quote, what can be done with ease must first be done with diligence. What can be done with ease must first be done with diligence. So my quick recap for those who had just joined is I was asking, first of all, what are your favorite exercises? What are the exercises that you can do with ease right now? If you want to put those in the chat as we're talking this through, that'd be good. What are the ones you like? And we'll stick with that for a second. So Lisa, Fit Club Pilates, is saying, I totally agree. I've been training more men and it's always fun and challenging for me. I love to teach leg pull front to men. I love the short spine. Yes. Cool. Yeah, and leg pull front is like, that's in their wheelhouse. It's a familiar move, right? So do you ever think about that as well? Like, you can go in the order, right? You can do your thing in the order. Or you can look at it and be like, okay, based on what you do, this is the translation to Pilates world with these exercises. Has anyone ever done that? Looked at someone's, like, their personal training card for the exercise they're doing and saying, oh, that's this exercise. Oh, that's this exercise. Oh, that's this exercise. Someone's doing a lat pull down on the gym floor. Okay, awesome. Let's do chest expansion. Kneeling on the reformer, on the tower. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing bicep curls. Let's do standing bicep curls, arm springs. Well, now we have to incorporate your feet and make a total body integrated movement, like that sort of thing. Like, do we look at it from those perspectives? Just curiosity. Yes, absolutely. Of course, we got these elite people in the room. We got some of the best in the room. That's how we do. That's good. That's good stuff. So if you were in one sentence to give your your strategy for getting more men into Pilates, in the chat, or join me on screen and say what your strategy is for getting more men into Pilates. We talk about this all the time. Sometimes new stuff comes out. Sometimes it's the same old thing, but it's always worth hearing once again. I'm reading Lisa's comment. If they were a PT client in a gym, I sprinkle in Pilates at the end of the workout, like their ab series of 5. Exactly. Yes, putting it at the end for those people who do PT and then have their ab series and their ab workout and their stretches at the end. I do that. In the PT world, I usually put my ab work at the beginning because it becomes a movement prep for one, and it also is the first thing to drop off when you don't feel like being there. Like, okay, I'll just finish this exercise and then I'll leave, and then they don't do their mat work. So put it at the beginning, then there's your movement prep, you got your ab work in, when you're done, you're done. So sometimes that worked for my clients who had a dental floss kind of approach to working out, like this is something I have to do because someone's gonna lecture me on it and not because I love movement. So that was my workaround. Fit Vision saying, like bicycles, I asked them to slow down, making it a crisscross. Yes, exactly. There you go. Like when you take those exercises and just make that pivot and then turn it into a Pilates exercise. Clever. Good stuff. Lisa saying, my strategy for getting men into Pilates is that if you have to come to more Pilates, you pay to see me less on massage. I'll read that again. So my strategy is that if you come to me more for Pilates, you will pay to see me less for massage. That's exactly it. And that really is my whole story. Like you asked me what my story is on how I came to Pilates. I was going to a chiro 3 times a week, and thanks to Pilates, it became like twice a week, then once a week, then once a month. So my health care providers saw less of me, and my Pilates instructor saw more of me over time. And that is usually the way it goes. And that story needs to be shared more, right? So there's one. So there's the pain approach. See me more and have less pain, right? I like using the performance approach as well. The pain one, obviously, pain speaks to everybody. Everyone's felt pain at some point. The performance one is the one that I spend some time on too, saying, this is gonna help you in your sport. If your sport is chasing your kids, that's your sport. If you are the 55-year-old on your hockey team, it's all 30-year-olds, then yeah, you need to be in there, right? So, let me see here. Lisa's house comment. So I tell them you can pay me more and have less pain. I agree, yes. Hi Carrie, we're talking men and Pilates this morning. How to connect them, how to make them feel good, how to feel challenged, make them feel like they have success in their work. And that's piggybacking off of some of the conversations I see in our social media space, including one of my old posts that came up this morning. So you like working with moms, Carrie. You're obviously talented enough to work with any and everybody. But we're giving the men some love this morning. What was I going to say before that? I got to your last comment there about pain. Oh yeah, so performance. So the performance piece is one that I like, and there's a Coach Peter Twist is one of my mentors and teachers, and amazing mover in the sport conditioning world, real pioneer in that world. And the way he talks about it is a podium performance. And whether you're an 80-year-old picking up a sport for the first time, or you're an NHL player trying to get a contract extension, your podium performance is the thing that you want to do well at the top of your game to the maximum of your own personal human potential. So I like using that speak and making even the word performance accessible. Like Carrie said, performance is important, and it really is. And I don't know. I think people can land on that because I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about this journey, right? This journey of, hi Sonia. Talking about this journey of progressing in your improvement of your human movement. Does that make sense? Sonia, we are talking about men in Pilates. We're having a bit of a technical talk. And I'd love, if you want to join me, I love hearing you talk shop because you were such a great mover and you know your stuff. So as with everyone here in these freestyles, give me a thumbs up if you want to join me on screen. But so back to the performance thing. So I was working on a workshop before, and oh man, I have like that Salt and Pepper song, "What a Man." As soon as you say that, going through my mind. One of the workshops that I have kind of on the back burner right now, but it's going to come up and it has come up in the past, is a Pilates workshop for men, and we're talking performance in 3 areas. The boardroom, right? What do you look like? Pilates, what does Pilates make you look like when you're wearing your suit? When you're standing in front of people and you have good posture? I'm not talking about 6-pack abs, just standing confident. Someone used to say to me, actually, I'll bring Sonia into this conversation.
Hello, my friend.
Hey, it's been a moment. I actually have a little bit of time. Things are quiet here at the job. So I was like, let me just go. I've done most of my things that I need to do here, so let me just jump on. So you're talking about men and Pilates, right? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about?
yes.
Um,
I was.
so I was thinking about something recently, and I don't know if it was something that maybe you had brought up or maybe it was just things that had happened recently. I don't know. But I kind of wondered, is it really, do we have to make things, does there have to be a gender to it? You know what I mean? Because I could have, let's say, I think we're making assumptions that men who come into Pilates,
Mhm.
right, that you're going to have to give them a harder workout because otherwise they're just not going to. It's just not going to happen. There's also like societal things, that
Sure.
tell us that men are quote stronger than
Mhm.
women,
Mhm.
which is not necessarily true
Mhm.
when it comes from a strength, like a physical strength. That's not necessarily true that men are stronger than women. That women are weaker.
Mhm.
Because if you hear something over and over again, you're going to start to believe it, right?
And
So if
believe
I'm
the
hearing
opposite.
as
Yes.
a woman or someone who identifies as a woman, um, that oh, well, women can't do push-ups, like there used to be women push-ups and men push-ups and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Um, and so if you keep hearing that, then you're going to believe that you're not going to be able to do it.
True.
Um, so I kind of wondered if, you know, I wonder if we should get away from the language of, okay, a guy's coming in, so therefore you know,
Mhm.
I've got to just really give it to him.
Yes.
Because listen, I've had some men come in who are, you know, athletes. I've had some women who come in who are athletes, and we didn't even do anything. I got them on the warm up.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
my warm up can be, I think any warm up can be pretty intense, but um, people are either going to love Pilates or they're not. You
Right.
could get in there and kick their ass if you want to, but they
Hmm.
may not be like, oh, it's not really my thing. So they're
Hmm.
either going to love it or they're not going to love it,
Sure.
right? Because
Right.
Pilates can sell itself. We're
Right.
all, I consider myself an excellent instructor. I know you're an excellent instructor. We got a chance to, you know, to work together and stuff
Yes.
like that. So, you know, our approach might be a little different, but, you know, I just don't feel like we should be trying to make this big sale with Pilates to men, women, or whatever, or whoever they
Yes.
are, because
Right.
either you like it or you don't.
Well, that's true, and I agree with you from that perspective. But it's like saying we could sub out men, you could sub in children, or you could sub out
Hmm.
children, and you could sub in a condition, people with
Hmm.
with strokes. You could sub out that whatever it is. When I'm talking about like these specific areas, I like to kind of lean towards understanding the nuances of working with that group as opposed
Hmm.
to um, a stereotype that comes with that or a label that comes
Hmm.
with that. You know what I mean? Like, so I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to say like, okay, well, oh, it's a man, so let's do all strong exercise today.
yeah.
Because I've had it where a woman comes into my class and she's like, I've been doing Pilates for 45 years and they have no clue what they're doing, right? But then
No
they think
clue.
and then
Yeah,
they're
no clue.
clueless. So, but we
No
could be
clue.
talking about like I could have subbed out men and said Pilates for people who think they're experts. What do you do with that? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to crush them to make them humble
Yeah.
them so that they submit them to this. You know what I mean? So like, there's
Yeah.
something that comes with that, but I think train the body that's in front of you. That's not just a cliche. I think that really is our
Hmm.
calling to understand who we have in front of us.
Yeah,
You
that's,
know?
I think that's what we should, that's the language we should use. It's like, who's in front of me? And what if they tell me, you know, what do you do? What's your movement practice if you have anything? What kind of
Yes.
work do you do? What are your injuries? All those kinds of things. And so that should tell us, like, you know, of course, you do have those clients who come in and say, I really want a hard workout and blah, 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 and whatever.
Right.
And if that's what they ask for, then all right,
Hmm.
I'll give it
Yeah.
to you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that just because someone's a man, you know, that they, you know, you gotta. I mean, I've heard that. I've been told that you know, because they're a man, that you should just, you know. But I was like, I've worked with a bunch of different men, and they weren't all on the same level. Most of them, I was stronger than them. I could do more
Hmm.
push-ups than them. So what are we
Yeah.
talking about here? But I
Right.
do agree with you on nuances in that. Let's say that. You know, that you can speak to someone on their level, like for instance, someone who is a dancer, right? Maybe they don't maybe the language we might have to change a little bit that they'll understand. Now
Hmm.
I don't, I had a balancing former balancing dancer, and she was still very much in her balancing mind, even though she hadn't
Okay.
danced for probably damn near 30 years, but still she was still there, right? But I
Right.
had to speak to her
Yes.
in that language, in a language that she understood. So I
Yes.
think that that's different. I
Sorry,
had a.
before you
Mhm.
move on there, sorry. That's right there, everybody's a perfect example because I have no clue what you're talking about. Right? So right
And yeah.
there, you have someone who understands the nuances of that world that
Hmm.
could speak to that person in their language that I could not do. But if
Hmm.
you had a football player walk in, you may be like, okay, football player, I'm going to give him this and this. And I might be like, okay, well, what position do you play? Linebacker. Okay, are you an
Hmm.
inside linebacker or outside linebacker? Okay,
Hmm.
are you on the left side or the right side? Okay, and then build it to that sliver
Yes,
of the work within the work within the work for football players.
absolutely. But I've also worked with people whose sports I knew nothing about. But I would kind of research and I'd say, okay, so let's say it is a linebacker. And I was like, although I do watch football and I'm familiar with it, but not necessarily, you might be a little bit more familiar with their role,
The
right?
role
So
of that
my
specific player,
job
yes.
is what I say, this is what I say. Okay, so you're a linebacker. Okay, yes, I watch football. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what a linebacker does. What does it
Mm-hmm.
require for you to do? Oh, okay, it requires this. Okay, so you know what? Um, if there is an exercise that is very similar or something that will help to make whatever their role is better, then I will relate it back to that. Because I'm
Yes.
letting them know that one, I'm not knowledgeable about your sport, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm also willing to learn a little bit about your sport so that I can help
Yes.
you. And so that makes them feel like, oh, okay, well, she actually cares. She's not just here, just
Cares.
run me through exercises, blah, blah,
Yes.
blah, and all
Yes.
that stuff.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I could navigate, that dancer you just mentioned a minute ago, which
Hmm.
is great. But then if they came to you, they'd almost be a week ahead because they wouldn't have to wait for me to research what to do
Hmm.
next, and you'd already have that in your catalog of exercises.
Hmm. Yeah, or, um, you know, I mean, sometimes you're just not prepared. You think
Exactly.
that,
Right.
you
Yeah.
think that, because, I mean, if you're working in a studio, usually they're going to tell you, like, hey, um, this client is this, this, and this. And like you said, oh, I've been doing Pilates with Romana. I did, was with Romana for 45 years. And then I did it with Jay Grimes. And then I went to Ron Fletcher, blah, 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 whatever. They come in, they can't do nothing. So you really don't know what your client can do. You have an idea,
Yeah.
but you don't know what they can do until they actually are right there
Start
in front
doing
of
it.
you. And you find
Yeah.
out that they absolutely have no clue. They're like, oh, I've never seen a reformer before. But you said that you were. Okay. But anyway,
Right.
so,
Yes. Yes.
you
Well, that's
know,
Rod Fletcher, not Ron Fletcher. Right.
so
Yes. Yes.
yes. Um, but
You were saying
yeah,
earlier
I
about
mean,
the
I,
dancers.
I,
You had this person, then this person. Like you have the different types of people.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess even someone who's been teaching for like a couple of months, like you will have seen, especially if you're teaching regularly, you will have seen X amount of bodies.
Mm-hmm.
When you keep on teaching, you start seeing everything.
Yes.
Stuff that you just when you thought you hadn't seen it all, you see it.
Yes.
Injuries you've never heard of,
Mm-hmm.
diseases you ain't never heard of, just like, or maybe you've never worked with a body who could not twist or turn
Mm-hmm.
or go forward or
Yes.
backwards,
Right.
had one of those bodies, so it's like, you know, so
Yep.
you're kind of learning as you go along. But and the other thing about like using sort of a binary thing is or a gender thing is now we're also in a newer we're in a newer space.
Mm-hmm.
So someone could we can't make assumptions because that person may appear to be what we think, but they may not identify as that. And so I have to, kind of like help them. I have to kind of like um, be aware of that and be cognizant of that and
Mm-hmm.
be respectful of that. Different than when you and I started teaching, right? Because
Yes.
everything was, male, female, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to jump off. Great conversation.
As always. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you for being so caring.
Sure.
Right. Awesome. Vivit saying, I think training athletes can be really great and really hard at the same time. Some athletes can live in extension, and that's how they perform. My current male client is a basketball player, and yes, to your point there, that's exactly it. So they live, and that's a very good point, for vision, because we we can get sucked into wanting to teach the body in front of us the way we want to teach them. And what I mean by that is one of the guys that I'm working with was a former track athlete. So his body moves in a certain way for his sport that if I'm teaching exercises the way they're supposed to be taught, I'm pulling him out of tension in areas where his body needs tension to perform. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good morning. Sorry, I was just reading the second part of her comment is there he has little extension and the challenge is real. I honestly like extension on with my basketball guys, leg circles, death. 100 roll up leg circles and they're ready to go home. They're looking at the clock. That's how hard it is for them in certain things, right? So yeah, it is a nuance. So like those are all great points that Son's made and Fit Vision and your stuff is great too. And just looking at it from those perspectives is so true. All this knowledge that we gain from working with different people, that's the beauty of working in big box gyms and arenas where you're seeing a cross section of people, not just your niche, but everybody. All those different experiences get cataloged. And then when we start asking questions of the front person in front of us, then I can go back to that aisle and grab that piece and go over to this aisle and grab this piece and go over here and get this piece and present all that to the person to see if that works for them. I think that's the bottom line of the conversation about working with men. And as I said with Sonia, working with X, it doesn't matter who it is. What do we know? What have we learned? What have we gathered from our past experiences? What are they giving us right now? And how do we marry all of that stuff to give that person, as Brent Anderson says, a positive movement experience? When they can land at a positive movement experience, they will come back. They will tell their friends. They will tell their buddies. And like my friend that I'm working with right now, he'll tell his CrossFit group that he's not coming back because he found something else. So those moments happen and people start to see their body perform differently, perform better as a result of the work that we do when we take some time to hone our craft through conversations like this. All good stuff. I should put here in the comment section. I am on Thought Flow tonight. So Misty has her IG live at 7 p.m. on at Misty Lynn Cawthon. I will be there. I believe that I think Nikki's back as well. So maybe the three of us. I'm looking forward to that. Talk shop with my friends, my Chicago, my Pittsburgh friends. So I'll see you guys on that later tonight. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I have no clue what the topic is. I just make sure I take a nap because I do early morning, so I'm just dragging by that hour. So I'll try and do my best to get some sleep in so I can be bright-eyed and ready for you guys there. So that is about it. So thank you to all of you for the conversation we're having, for Sonia throwing in her mix and her perspective on that. And we're at it tomorrow. Not at it on Monday, but it's a holiday. Well, I should take that too. But thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate all of you, and we are back tonight. Actually, check me out on Thought Flow. Follow Miss Dylan Cawthon if you're not, and we out. Good stuff. Thank you, everybody.